It was a Thursday afternoon in late April, the kind of day in Pine Hollow, Georgia, where the air hung heavy with the scent of blooming magnolias and the sun dipped low, casting golden streaks across the manicured lawns of Willow Creek Estates. The gated community gleamed with suburban perfection. Uniform brick houses, emerald green hedges, and a wrought iron gate that promised safety, order, exclusive tie. Inside one of those homes, 13-year-old Liam Carter was sprawled on the Lee VY Ing room couch, scrolling through his phone, earbuds blasting music loud enough to drown out the world. His mother, Emily, was in the kitchen, humming softly as she chopped vegetables for dinner: zucchini, carrots, a splash of olive oil already sizzling in the pan. The clock on the wall ticked toward 5:47 p.m. When everything changed, Liam didn't hear the knife hit the floor at first. The sound was muffled by his music, a dull clatter lost beneath bass lines. But then came the thud, heavy, unmistakable. He yanked out an earbud, turning just in time to see Emily crumple beside the counter, her body folding like a marionette with its strings cut. Her hand twitched once against the tile, her face pale, eyes wide but unseeing. "Mom!" Liam's voice cracked, small and uncertain. He dropped his phone, the screen still glowing as he stumbled toward her. "Mom!" She didn't respond. Her chest wasn't moving. Panic clawed up his throat as he fumbled for the phone she kept on the counter, dialing 911 with shaking fingers. 911, what's your emergency? The operator's voice was steady, a lifeline in the chaos. "My mom's on the floor, she's not breathing." Liam's words tumbled over each other, high-pitched and desperate. "Okay, honey, I need you to stay calm. Can you tell me your address?" He rattled it off: 124 Willow Lane, Willow Creek Estates, his voice trembling but clear. The operator repeated it back, crisp and professional. "We're sending help right now. Can you check if she's breathing? Put your ear near her mouth." Liam knelt beside her, his cheek hovering over her lips. Nothing. No warmth, no faint rush of air. She's not breathing. "All right, listen to me. Do you know CPR?" "Two think so. They showed us in school once." "Good. I'm going to walk you through it. Put the phone on speaker and place your hands on her chest, right between her ribs. Push down hard, about 2 inches. Count with me on 2, 3, 4. Liam pressed his palms against her sternum, the way he vaguely remembered from a gym class demonstration. His arms shook, his breaths came in gasps, but he pushed. 1, 2, 3, 4. The operator's voice was his anchor, steady and unyielding. He didn't know how long he'd been counting 30 compressions, 2 breaths, over and over when he realized help should have been there by now. "Where are they?" he choked out, sweat beading on his forehead. "You said they were coming." "They're on their way, sweetie. They're almost there. Just keep going." But outside, at the towering gate of Willow Creek Estates, the ambulance sat idle. Its red lights pulsed against the dusk, sirens wailing into the humid air, but the gate didn't budge. 2 paramedics, Sarah Nguyen and Tom Rivera, leaned out of the cab, exasperation etched into their faces. A security guard mid-30s, balding, with a name tag reading Greg, stood in front of his booth, clutching a clipboard like it was a shield. "I can't let you in without clearance," he said, his voice flat, rehearsed. "HOA rules. No emergency access unless it's pre-approved." Sarah's jaw tightened. "This is a cardiac arrest call. A kid's in there trying to save his mom. Open the damn gate." Greg didn't flinch. "I don't have the authority. I need the property manager's okay. You'll have to wait." "Wait," Tom snapped, slamming his hand on the steering wheel. "Every minute we're out here, she's losing brain function. Call whoever you need to know." Greg hesitated, then ducked into the booth, fumbling with his phone. The paramedics exchanged a look, half fury, half disbelief. They'd seen delays before, but this was a new level of absurdity. Inside, Liam's hands ached, his knees burned against the tile, and his mother's body grew colder beneath his touch. "Please," he whispered, not to the operator, but to Emily, to God, to anyone who'd listen. "Please don't leave me." The clock ticked on. 5 minutes became 8, then 12. Greg finally got through to the property manager, a woman named Carla Hensley, who sounded irritated at being disturbed during her dinner. "What's the address again?" she asked, as if it were a routine maintenance request. Greg related. There was a pause, a rustle of papers. "All right, fine. Let them in." 17 minutes had passed since Liam's call. The gate creaked open, and the ambulance roared through, tires squealing as it sped to 124 Willow Lane. Sarah and Tom burst through the front door, bags in hand, to find Liam slumped beside his mother, his small frame heaving with exhaustion. His hands rested limply on her chest, smeared with sweat and desperation. "I tried," he mumbled, barely audible. "I tried." They moved fast defibrillator pads, oxygen mask, epinephrine injections, but Emily's pulse was gone, her skin clammy and gray. The monitor flatlined, a cruel, unbroken beep piercing the silence. Tom checked his watch, 6:04 p.m. Time of death. Liam didn't move as they worked, didn't cry as they zipped her into the body bag. He just stared, hollow-eyed, as they wheeled her out, Leah vying behind a kitchen that smelled of burnt zucchini and loss. The next morning, a letter arrived. It was slipped into the Carters' mailbox, crisp and official, bearing the Willow Creek Estates HOA logo, a stylized tree in green and gold. Liam's father, Nathan, found it when he returned from the morgue, still wearing yesterday's rumpled shirt, his eyes bloodshot from a night without sleep. He tore it open, expecting condolences, an apology, something human. Instead, he got this. "To the Carter family, we regret the unfortunate event that occurred at your residence on April 27th. Please be reminded that all emergency personnel require prior authorization for community entry, as outlined in Section 14.3 of the Willow Creek Estates bylaws. Noncompliance may result in fines or temporary suspension of community PRIVY legacies. Sincerely, the Willow Creek HOA Board." Nathan read it twice, then dropped it onto the counter as if it burnt. He looked across the room to where Liam sat, curled into a ball on the recliner, a blanket draped over his shoulders. The boy hadn't spoken since the paramedics left, hadn't eaten, hadn't even turned on the lights. And here was the HOA, fretting over PRIVY Legesti Pool, the clubhouse, the goddamn tennis courts while his wife was dead and his son was broken. Nathan's hands clenched into fists, not from anger alone, but from a dawning realization. This wasn't an accident. This was a choice. The HOA meeting was held the following Tuesday in the community clubhouse, a squat building with beige walls and fluorescent lights that buzzed like trapped flies. The air smelled of industrial cleaner and stale coffee. Nathan arrived alone. Liam stayed home with his face unshaven, his tie crooked. The room was half full, residents in khakis and pastel polos, sipping water from plastic cups, murmuring about petty grievances. The board sat at a folding table up front, 5 members, all middle-aged, all white, all radiating the smug authority of people who'd never been held accountable. The meeting droned through its agenda: mailbox uniformity, a proposed fee hike for lawn care, a complaint about kids skateboarding near the PA-VY line. Then came the open floor. Nathan stood, his voice low but cutting through the chatter like a blade. "My wife died last week. My 13-year-old son did CPR on her for 17 minutes because your gate wouldn't open for the paramedics. He begged for help while you hid behind your rules. She's gone because of you." The room went silent. A woman on the board, Brenda Tate, 58, with a tight bun and a silver cross necklace, shifted uncomfortably. "Mr. Carter, we're so sorry for your loss," she said, her tone practiced, dripping with false empathy. "But our policies are in place to protect the community. We can't just let anyone in without verification. It's a safety issue." Nathan's eyes locked onto hers. "Safety? My wife's dead. My son's traumatized. Where's the safety in that?" Brenda's lips pursed. "We followed protocol. Exceptions can't be made on a whim. It opens us up to liability." "Liability," Nathan repeated, the word tasting like ash. "You think a lawsuit's worse than a corpse?" He didn't yell, didn't gesture wildly. He didn't need to. The weight of his words pinned them in their seats. He turned and left, the door clicking shut behind him. Outside, the Georgian night pressed against him, thick and suffocating, but a fire had ignited in his chest. They thought this was over. They were wrong. Nathan Carter wasn't a litigious man by nature. He ran a small landscaping business, coached Liam's soccer team, fixed his neighbor's sprinklers for free. He believed in second chances, in working things out. But that belief died with Emily. Now he sat in his truck late at night, the cab lit by the glow of his laptop, searching for a lawyer who'd take on an HOA Goliath. Most hung up after 5 minutes. It's a long shot, they'd say. HOAs are bulletproof private entities, airtight contracts. You signed the rules when you moved in. One even laughed. You'll spend a fortune and get nowhere. Drop it. But Nathan couldn't drop it. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Liam's hands pressing down on Emily's chest, heard the operator's hollow promises. Then he found Rachel Ortiz. Her name popped up in a blog post titled, HOA Nightmares, the Lawyers Who Fight Back. She was a solo practitioner in Atlanta, known for taking unwinnable cases tenants against slumlords, whistleblowers against corporations. Her office was a cramped room above a laundromat, walls lined with law books and faded protest posters. When Nathan called, she picked up on the second ring. "Tell me everything," she said, her voice sharp, no nonsense. He did every detail, every minute, every word from that damn letter. She didn't interrupt, just scribbled notes. When he finished, she was quiet for a moment. "They're not untouchable," she said finally. "They think they are, but they're not. Meet me tomorrow." They met at her office, the hum of dryers drifting up through the floorboards. Rachel was in her 40s, wiry, with dark hair pulled into a messy ponytail and eyes that missed nothing. She spread out a legal pad covered in her jagged handwriting. "Here's the plan," she said. "We dig 911 records, gate logs, security footage, HOA emails. We prove they knew their policy was a death trap and did nothing. Then we bury them." Nathan nodded, a flicker of hope piercing the numbness. "Can we win?" Rachel smirked. "We can make them wish they'd never met you." Within a week, she'd filed subpoenas. The 911 call transcript arrived, first Liam's voice, small and frantic, pleading for help that didn't come. Then the ambulance GPS data. On site at 5:50 p.m., entry granted at 6:07 p.m. 17 minutes. A cardiologist's report followed. Emily's heart attack was served VY Vabel with intervention within 10 minutes. By 17, brain death was likely. The security footage showed Greg pacing, phone in hand, while the ambulance idled. And then, buried in a stack of HOA emails Rachel pried loose with a court order, came the bombshell. It was a chain from 2 years earlier, after an elderly resident suffered a fall and waited 14 minutes for medics. The then assistant manager, a man named Derek Wells, had written, "This gate policy is a lawsuit waiting to happen. We need an emergency override now." The response from board president Victor Langston was curt. "Legal risk outweighs bad PR. Stick to protocol." Another email from Brenda Tate added, "If we let every ambulance in without clearance, we're begging for trouble. Delay's the safer bet." Nathan read those words until they blurred, his hands trembling. They'd known. They'd been warned. And they'd chosen paperwork over people. Rachel leaned over his shoulder. "This is it," she said. "This is negligence with teeth." But the real break came 2 weeks later, in the form of a late-night text from an unknown number. "I work security at Willow Creek. They've covered up worse. Call me." Nathan showed it to Rachel, who didn't hesitate. "Set it up." They met the source at a truck stop off I-75, a guy named Jamal Harristal, broad-shouldered, with a nervous tick in his left eye. He'd been a guard at Willow Creek for 3 years, quit 6 months ago after a fight with management. Over burnt coffee and the rumble of diesel engines, he spilled it all. "That gate's killed before," he said, voice low. "Not literal death least, not to your wife, but close calls. A kid with asthma, 10 minutes late. A guy with a stroke, 13 minutes. I logged every incident, begged them to fix it. They told me to shred the reports, or I'd be fired. You got proof?" Rachel asked, pen poised. Jamal slid a USB drive across the table. Copied it before I left. Logs, emails, even a voice memo from Langston telling me to keep it quiet. Nathan listened, the pieces clicking into place. This wasn't just incompetence. It was a system designed to fail, protected by people who cared more about their egos than their neighbors. "Will you testify?" he asked. Jamal nodded. "Yeah, I've got kids. Could have been them." The lawsuit hit Willow Creek like a freight train. Rachel filed in state court, naming the HOA and its board as defendants, alleging gross negligence and wrongful death. The story broke online. First, a local blogger got wind of it, then it snowballed. By week 2, it was national news. Teen CPR fails as HOA gate locks out help. The hashtag "the open the gates" trended for days. Protesters picketed the entrance to Willow Creek, signs reading 17 minutes too long, and HOAs over lives? Cable networks ran segments. Strangers mailed Liam letters of support. Nathan shielded his son from most of it, but the world was watching. The trial began in October, the courthouse a pressure cooker of tension. The gallery overflowed with reporters, active VYSTS, and residents from other gated communities clutching their own horror stories. Nathan took the stand on day 1, his voice steady but raw. "My son shouldn't have had to play paramedic while trained medics sat outside a gate you locked. You knew it could happen. You let it happen. Emily's dead because you wouldn't open a damn gate." Rachel followed with EVY Denke that landed like bombshells. The 911 call, the cardiologist's timeline, Jamal's testimony, the damning emails. The defense apprised lawyers in tailored suits tried to spin it. The paramedics should have pushed harder. The dispatcher miscommunicated. The HOA was just following rules everyone agreed to. But the jury, 7 women, 5 men, a mix of ages and backgrounds, didn't buy it. They deliberated for 5 hours. The verdict came at dusk, guilty on all counts. Damages, due lot $2.3 million. A recommendation for statewide HOA reform. The board sat stone-faced as the gavel fell, their empire of bylaws reduced to rubble. But Nathan wasn't done. He saw it in their eyes during the trial, not remorse, but detachment, as if they were untouchable even now. So he went back to Rachel. "File again," he said. "Against them personally. Every single one." She didn't blink. "You sure? They don't get to hide behind the HOA. They wrote the rules. They ignored the warnings. They face me." Within days, 5 new lawsuits hit the docket, one for each board member. Victor Langston, Brenda Tate, and the rest. Rachel deposed them one by one, forcing them to explain under oath why they dismissed Derek's memo, why they'd silenced Jamal, why they prioritized their precious protocol over a woman's life. Victor cracked first, offering a settlement. Brenda claimed ignorance, her voice trembling. The others fought, countersuing for harassment, but the damage was done. Their names were tied to Emily's death forever in legal records, in Google searches, at every neighborhood barbecue where whispers followed them. The money didn't matter to Nathan. He funneled most of it into a foundation Emily's Lido-trained kids in CPR and push for emergency access laws. Georgia passed the first reform bill 6 months later, mandating automatic gate overrides for 911 calls. Other states followed. Liam started speaking at schools, showing kids how to save a life, his voice growing stronger with every session. He still woke up some nights, hands clenched as if pressing on a ghost, but he was healing slowly, unevenly, the way broken things mend. Nathan kept going too. He testified before lawmakers, consulted with advocacy groups, sat across from HOA boards and said, "Fix this, or I'll find you next." He wasn't angry anymore, just relentless. And in the quiet of their house, when the stars pierced the Georgia sky, he felt Emily not as a memory, but as a force, urging him forward. This wasn't the end of their story. It was the beginning of what they'd built from the ashes. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this VY Deo with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next VY Deo.